The English 9 Oral History Project is a project whereby students learn about history through interviewing an elder, such as a grandparent, a parent, or a distant relative who has had something that has affected their lives. For this assignment, they first had to come up with some interviewing questions for this individual and then do the interview. And then we also went to some follow-up questions so they could clarify some more information about one specific event that affected their lives. This was brought together in an oral narrative paper and with pictures, and they also wrote it about as though they were that person, so from that person's perspective. So some of our students had to pretend that though they had gone to Korea to be the Korean War, or had protested the Vietnam War. In essence, they are capturing history first person. The whole thing culminated in an event, the Oral History Project Night, where all parents were invited and also students invited guests to come and sit with them and answer questions that the crowd had. It was a gallery walk, and so every room was set up per the theme. So we had themes such as war, growing up, marriage and relationships, and serious illnesses in this whole event. And parents went around and talked to the kids about their projects for the event and what did they learn from this. The essential learnings were basically that everybody has a story, and they used interviewing skills and writing skills to get the story out and present it in a narrative way so that we could not only learn about history, but we could learn about history first person. And preserving history is such an essential part of our culture.
Okay, so what I hope that the students really learned was that they got a story from a family member or somebody that they didn't know about. And so they find out that just everybody has a story. And we want to preserve those stories as much as we can.
Okay, my favorite part was being able to share our stories with everybody. Learning more about people's childhood and what went on. The lessons that we've learned through our elders. Learning more about my grandmother I never would have known if I wouldn't have asked her.
Part of the event was meeting a lot of the kids and hearing them tell their stories about their relatives, about their aunt or uncle, whether in a war or whether a parent had cancer or surgery or car accident or whatever. And realizing that every family's got a story of some kind of problem that they have overcome or dealt with.
My favorite experience about the oral history night was hearing people's feedback and reactions to the stories after we told them.
Okay, through this oral history project, I learned how my mother was adopted and the story of how my grandmother and my grandpa went together the day before they were called.
Do you think that you would have learned everything you learned without doing this project?
No, I would not. I needed an event, and so I just picked one, and I would have never known the story of how my mom became my mom.
I really enjoyed tonight because I learned of stories of my classmates that I would never have learned if they hadn't brought them here and let me see them.